Welcome everybody to our Talk Tuesday for today, October 17th, 2023. Thank you for your patience as we had a bit of a Zoom issue this morning, but with technology, we're always ready to solve that. So we do thank you for being here. We were just giving it a few more minutes for people to get the new Zoom link and be able to join and be with us. So I'm going to start in just a moment as I see some more people are entering in, and we want to make sure to honor everyone entering in. Okay, I am going to move forward now. Thank you all. I see you're all still coming in. Thank you for joining us. Again, we just had a little bit of a Zoom issue this morning, so this link for today is only for today. We will go back to our registration Zoom link come next week, but we thank you for being here. So as we move forward today, we have some exciting presentations to move forward with, some exciting announcements. But first, today's agenda. So I'd like to welcome you all. I'm Christine Kilwind. I'm with the State Education Resource Center, and I'm here with my colleagues. I'm here with Anne-Marie Cardisco, Elisa Palmieri-Ladati, and also our CSTE colleagues, Jay Brown, and Kari Sullivan-Custer could not be with us today, but she will be rejoining us come next Talk Tuesday. We have a very great presentation today from Attendance Works and East Hartford High School with our new brief that just got released. It is the High School Bright Spots. So Helen Duffy is with us, a senior fellow with Attendance Works, Matthew Ryan, principal of East Hartford High School. I'm going to wrap it up quickly at the end with just some upcoming attendance and engagement announcements and meetings that we have. And because a bit of the delay in getting started, just to let you know, we plan to maybe go a few minutes after. However, if you cannot stay or if there's some Q&A questions you want to ask, that's fine. It's your choice. So we'll hang on a little bit just in case, because we do recognize that that the time is escaping us. So just some welcome today, some Superintendent's Digest updates. So some stuff that came out in September. So really the State Board of Education put forward their 5-year plan draft. They're looking for some comments on that. We thank everybody that was able to attend the Performance Matters Forum last Thursday. Some great things in there. The presentations are still posted. If you go to the link and you're able to find the agenda for the day, the links are embedded in that. So if you'd like to see what happened that day or get some materials, please visit that link. There's a grant expenditure dashboard on Insight, and that's now public. The Connecticut Guidelines for Educator and Leader Evaluations Support 2023, and there's a memo from the commissioner. That's in September 14th. As we move to September 18th, we're going to celebrate the National Adult Education and Family Literacy Week. There's a Smarter Balance item review for ELA and math, review the qualifications, application process, and other information. Internet safety training, and that's by the U.S. Attorney General's Office and District of Connecticut and Department of Children and Families. And then there's the FAFSA data sharing agreement that is expiring soon, so district signatures required on the amendment. Moving forward, so September 21st, we have Hispanic Heritage Month, the PD playlist with the FAFSA Challenge for Schools that they show significant gains. The 2023 National Ribbon Schools with the Insight Dashboard. And September 25th, International Day of Girl Panel, using digital platforms to progress change. And September 28th, you can register for the informational webinar for districts who have requested a waiver for the CT-approved K-3 reading curriculum model or programs. And then we have the Connecticut Automatic Admissions Program CAP update, dual credit grant awarded. And then some stuff in October, Defined Careers, October Professional Learning Opportunity that you could register for. Although it looks like maybe some things have passed us considering it's October 4th. October 5th, Increasing Educator Diversity Informational Webinar, Aspiring Educators Diversity Scholarship Program, and nominations for the 2024 U.S. Presidential Scholar Program. Some great guidance that just got published on October 11 is the Middle East conflict. The State Department really looked to kind of address this and how could we address in our schools and having those conversations. So there's resources in there for talking to students and families and staff. And again, the webinar that's listed on here. And then there's the Transportation Commissioner put out something for the CT DOT snowplow naming contest for 2023. So just so you know, we have our LEAP Learner Engagement and Attendance Program 101 trainings, and they are still running, and you can still register for them. So the link is embedded into this slide, but also the contact information for Francisco Berries is also listed on there. And this has been a topic you're probably hearing in so many places about how great LEAP is and how effective it is with our schools. And we'll even hear about that relationship piece and building that with our families and our community a little bit more. So I would suggest everybody take some time and really, if you haven't been able to attend the LEAP 101 trainings, maybe consider doing one. And we're going to turn this over in just a moment, but as we're moving along in this slide, which we'll get the slide deck in a little bit, there is the high school bright spots brief that is now on our CSDE webpage. So you'll be able to download and read through the report, and this is what it looks like. The link is embedded in here, and I know Helen and Matt are going to speak a lot to this, and we will put the link into the chat as we move along and as Helen and Matt need us to. On that note, I'm going to turn over to our presenters. And for right now, we're going to go and turn it over to Helen Duffy, who is Senior Fellow with Attendance Works. And Helen, it is all yours.
Thanks, Christine. And Attendance Works is really honored to have the opportunity to partner with CSDE on this effort. Connecticut is not alone, as you might imagine, in its concern for the attendance and engagement of high school students. It's an issue across the country. So we're very pleased to have partnered with you all on this report. Next slide, please. Next slide, that's me. So we're just going to talk a little bit about the context for the report. I'll tell you what we did, tell you a little bit about what we found, and then you'll hear from Matt Ryan, who I think you probably are all really anxious to hear from. Next slide, please. So if you don't mind, maybe what you can do is in the chat, introduce yourselves. Who are you? Where are you from? What level of the system are you working at? And let us know. Next slide, please. Next slide. All right. So why high school? What do you notice in this slide? This is the statewide chronic absence rate for 2022-23 across the state of Connecticut. What do you notice in the pattern here? People are still introducing themselves. Thank you very much. So take a moment and look at the pattern here. What do you notice in the data?
Hi there. The absenteeism rates are highest in kindergarten and 12th grade.
That's right. Yep. It's really interesting, isn't it, that there's that dip in the middle, and then it gradually goes up, getting highest in the later grades, in 12th grade in particular. Next slide, please. So why high school? You've just answered the question. High school data across the country looks very much like what Connecticut's data looks like. And high school students actually present us with a number of opportunities, but also a number of unique challenges that we don't face in elementary school. Next slide, please. So nationwide, a nationwide study conducted by the Yale Center for Emotional Intelligence found that 75% of high school students had negative feelings toward school. Some of the terms that students used were tired, I'm stressed, I'm bored. High levels of chronic absence, when one of these positive conditions for learning is missing. So we see high levels of chronic absence when one of these 4 positive conditions for learning is missing. So the good news is we can create these conditions, right? They provide a strong foundation for positive youth development. And another recent study that was released by the University of Chicago Research Consortium suggests that school climate and academic challenge with support plays a really important role in shaping development and educational attainment for students. The other thing I'd like you to note is that relationships are essential. They're at the center of these positive conditions. And Matt's going to talk a little bit more about how he intentionally structures school to encourage those positive conditions in relationships. Next slide, please. Oh, let's click through the animation here. Okay, next slide. So we talked a little bit about some of the unique challenges that high school presents. And those challenges actually aren't that much different than when we went to high school, right? Students who might be accustomed to smaller, more nurturing learning environments may find themselves in larger schools with larger classes, more diverse student bodies. Those kinds of challenges are things that we faced ourselves when we made that transition. But when you compound those challenges with social media, the peer pressure is heightened by 10 times, right? And we also know that teen mental health has really declined in the last 10 years. The other thing to note is that this transition was complicated even more by COVID, because the students who are coming into high school now either had no middle school experience or had a very disrupted one. So essentially, they're making the transition from those early grades right into high school, right? So it makes that transition even more difficult. Next slide, please. And those challenges are layered on top of these continued developmental processes. Adolescence is a really pivotal period when students are questioning who they are, who they want to be, how they're going to get where they want to go, and how school factors into all of that, right? Next slide, please. So what did we do? Next slide. The goal for this project was to identify high schools that can share examples of policies, practices, and partnerships that they say helped them reduce the chronic absence at their schools. Next slide, please. So we worked in collaboration with CSDE to identify high schools that have chronic absence rates lower than the state average, lower than Connecticut's high school average, or schools that saw notable declines in 21-22 chronic absence rates. We also intentionally wanted to include schools that serve a diverse student population. And once we came up with that list of schools, we invited folks to participate in an interview with us and with district leaders if they chose to participate. What we did is we summarized those individual school practices. And you'll find those school summaries at the end of the report that Christine just noted. And we provided a cross-school analysis of promising practices. So I looked across all of the schools that we spoke to and looked for themes, common themes and common practices. Next slide, please. So our products, we released the brief that includes the analysis across schools, and we're really pleased that it was released just yesterday, so it's hot off the press. And last spring, we featured Joseph Raiola, who's the principal at Bassick High School. Today, we are inviting Matt to join us. And coming soon will be some video clips that accompany the report that show the school leaders just describing their practices. Next slide, please. So what did we find? Several things. First of all, shifting mindsets is a really important first step. One of the school leaders in describing this process said, you know, we know we're going to reach out to families when students are absent. What do we want those conversations to be like? Do we want them to be punitive and negative? Or do we want them to be caring, empathetic, and supportive? Those kinds of supportive conversations can help co-design solutions instead of us coming up with the solutions ourselves. We work together in partnership with families to co-design solutions to understand what the barriers are and help resolve those barriers. A second theme was school attendance teams that drive the work. And they drive the work using robust data. You're going to hear more from Matt about how they use their data. Data provides early indicators of risk and help not only reach out to those students who are showing signs of risk for falling into chronic absence once they're in high school, but they also provide opportunities for school leaders to understand who the incoming ninth grade students are, right? So another school that we spoke to, the school leader looks at the behavior attendance and grades for the incoming ninth grade students. And based on those data, she intentionally groups those students so that she can provide early intentional outreach to those students who may experience challenges coming into high school. Matt, again, he'll talk about how he provides an infrastructure for coherent tiered supports for students by intentionally grouping students with a coherent set of adults who see the students through their 4 years of high school. So students don't change the school counselor each year. That provides students with the opportunity to develop those relationships that we talked about that are so critical. It also provides families with the opportunity for them to feel known as well, and they know who to call if they have questions or they need support. Finally, I want to mention one of the Youth Service Board folks that we spoke to in Stamford. The Youth Service Boards, as you know, provide support to the most marginalized families in the community. And oftentimes that entails tapping into multiple agencies and organizations. And what they've done in Stamford is they have created an umbrella organization that they call Here to Help. And that is essentially a single organization that provides families with a coherent set of supports that they need, whether it's medical, whether it's housing, whether it's food. So instead of going to these multiple agencies, this umbrella organization allows families to get a coherent set of supports from one single organization. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Matt.
Good morning, everybody. Just gonna wait. Do I have to share my screen or do I have access to switching the?
Yeah, you can't be able to share your screen. And if we could just make sure that Matt Ryan has co-host access so he could share.
So I can't see the presentation.
Not sure. So you were able to share, right? You were able to select that. We could share it on our end if that helps.
Okay. Do you guys see the presentation? Oh, there it is.
And just let me know next slide when you'd like me to continue it in advance.
Okay, sounds good. Sorry about that. All right, welcome everybody. I'm Matt Ryan, I'm the principal at East Hartford High School. As you can see, we have made some movement and positive growth regarding attendance. We're just going to walk you through some of the pieces of that data, and then as well as some of our processes that we have here. And it's mostly really about the people. So our motto for the last few years has been about relationships and opportunities, never more important, coming off of COVID, as you all know. And I'll just walk you through some of the pieces that we constantly report out on and review. Next slide. So this is our updated information as far as in June, what our school looked like as far as a breakdown of population. And as you can see, we have high levels of special ed and increasing levels of ELL as well. And so we're constantly changing our programming and strategies to try to target our chronic populations. Next slide. So as you can see, last year we have about a new about 90 more students than we did last year. And out of those 90 students, I believe 65 of them are ELL students. And so we adjusted our offering as far as our program called Team Aspire to include 4 more content area teachers with our ever increasing enrollment of ELL personnel. Additionally, obviously, our ELL is a high population of our chronic absenteeism. And so we lean on our bilingual family specialist to help us out with the families. And he's an integral part of our attendance process. Next slide. So just to break it down, this is our report card. And so we focus on these 11 pieces of data that you guys are all obviously familiar with as far as the index. Just focusing down toward the bottom, rates of daily attendance and chronic absenteeism. So we ended the year before with 91.9% ADA and a chronic absenteeism rate of 15.8. And we ended last year in June with an increase in attendance, ADA at 93, and our chronic absenteeism, we got to 14.4. So this year, our goal is 95% ADA and 12.5% chronic absenteeism. And so that'll be in my goals as well as all of my 4 assistant principals' goals as well. Next slide. So we work on a daily basis. We have a meeting. It's around 9 o'clock, depending on our schedule. We have a modified block schedule. So some days we're in 90-minute classes and some days we're in 45-minute classes. These are the folks that attend the daily meetings. Not everybody is there every day, but we have an attendance officer that leads those meetings. So Miss Adams controls that agenda each day. She brings the data to the meeting, and then we run through a protocol, and I'll walk through each one of those in a minute. Teachers, we have teachers who are taking attendance obviously every day. Our data is only as good as their accuracy. And so we're constantly working to make sure and ensure that we have accurate attendance. I think 2 things kind of impact that accuracy. One is teacher absenteeism. So it takes us a little longer when, let's say like yesterday, I had 23 teachers out of 150. So we have some uncovered classes and we're trying to get that accurate attendance entered by the office secretaries. Administrators, we have a grade level administrator assigned to each one of these meetings. It is imperative that admin is at every single day's meeting. Only going once or twice a week doesn't really reflect the priority that we have. So it's really imperative that the administrators are there. Our social workers, support staff, liaisons all have roles, and you'll see that when we get to our daily agendas. Our school nurses brought in once a week at least to provide insights, whether it's 504s or ongoing medical conditions. And then we have 2 grade level behavior managers that assist with all of our processes. Next slide. So each day is a theme. So Monday's bag day, behavior, attendance, and grades. Basically, these students are on a 10-day check-in list with the house office. So somehow they got themselves on that list. Most of the time it's for attendance. Sometimes it's for behavior. And they check in the house office in the morning, and we make sure that they're in school. And if they're not, they immediately get phone calls or text messages or something through Student Square, Parent Square. Tardies on Tuesdays. So, a life skill is to be on time. And so we want the kids to be in school on time and as well as class. So we'll review our data reports there and create intervention practices if we need to, as well as disciplinary consequences. Wednesday, we get our 10% list, right? Who's chronic? What's their story? And every team reports out on the individual students that are on that list. And we need to make sure we know all of their stories. And that's why it's important that your nursing team is there, or somebody there from the nurse's office, and or your social worker, school counselor comes to that meeting. Thorough Thursday, this is where we'll probably focus on a lot of our ELL students. Our bilingual family specialist is there, and we are looking at different stories. Again, we're trying to figure out who needs a parent meeting, who needs a certain phone conference. This is when we'll send out our family liaison and our attendance officer on a lot of home visits. And then we will also do some referrals to outside agencies. We do have intercommunity inside the school. So we have a lot of students that are engaged in different kinds of counseling, family therapies, individual counseling there as well. And then lastly, we have Data Dashboard Friday. This is everybody comes for a half-hour meeting, and we look at our data for the week. We will assign an award to the house support team that had the highest percentage of phone calls. So every day that a student is out, they get a phone call that day. If it's an unexcused absence. So we don't know why you're out. We're going to find out why you're out. So if I'm on grade 9 and I had 15 absences per day, so that's about, I don't know, 75 phone calls for the week I needed to make as a team. I got to 70 out of 75. That percentage goes on the board, and then the winning team gets some kind of like prize. So it could be lunch, it could be a Starbucks gift card. I think this week is some Amazon prize that my secretary picked out. So just to kind of give people a little kudos and a thank you for working so hard at your job. You can see the daily meetings. They're kind of broken out by grade there. And everything that everybody does is essential that they log it in our PowerSchool log entries so we can run reports and report out each quarter on how we're doing with our interventions, as well as hopefully improved attendance rates. Next slide. So this is the end of last year. You can see we have our reports on day 91, 135, and 171, and just the growth or decrease in the chronic absenteeism. So you can see that our 9th grade stayed pretty flat throughout the year. Grade 10 went up 1% from day 135 to 171. And then you saw a big decrease by a grade 11, 13.5%, and then 36% decrease in grade 12. And that was towards the end of the year. So big push right in the end of the 3rd quarter, 4th quarter for our 12th graders, like games, you know, you've hit the limit, right? So you need to be in school because you need your credits, and they stepped up to the plate. Next slide. So again, this is just an example of a report that we run every quarter. So we have our interventions right there on the left-hand side, phone calls, parent meetings, tardy phone calls, home visits, and then awards that we give out to students for improved attendance. And then we kind of just calculate those. And it's just nice to see the comparison from 1st to 2nd to 3rd to 4th quarter, and just make sure that, you know, people are holding up their end of the bargain. And also a little competition between grades is great. It's good for that Friday meeting. We have a great team and they get along, but they also want to win, right? And so that's a bonus that I think also builds the camaraderie too. Next slide.
Hey, Matt, I'm sorry to interrupt you. How do you
Sure.
collect the attendance, like on that last slide? How are you, did you guys, what is the system you're using to collect like daily phone call information or tardy phone calls?
So those are all, so when the behavior managers or the secretary or the school counselor, social worker, assistant principal make phone calls, when we log into PowerSchool, there's a drop down for attendance and then what did you do with it. So I called for attendance, and then in the subject area, you can write a certain code. One of these has to go in there. So then when we pull the log entries report, we sort it by grade, and then we look at daily phone calls, and then we can get our number. So if they don't enter it correctly, right, then they will not be, then they're not getting counted correctly in log entries. So that's been a bit of a process to make sure people, you know, type in the right codes, or we created a drop down as well.
Excellent. So all through PowerSchool, those are things that maybe we can utilize that we're not utilizing. Thank you.
Yep. So again, this is from the end of the year report. In January and in June, I have a student achievement meeting. I present to the superintendent and all the administrators at the secondary level. So all 5 of the secondary principals do this, and we present our information and our data about how we did and how we are doing. So you can see our chronic absenteeism rates for the year, where we started, where we were at the mid-year, and where we ended. And so, you know, right before COVID, we were at, I think we were at 11.8% chronic absenteeism. So again, like I said earlier, our goal this year is 12.5%. You know, and basically in 2 years, I'd love to hit the 10% mark. That's our major goal. That would be a huge win for us. But more importantly, it'd be a huge win for the kids, right? Because then that means they're actually in school. And so our 93% daily attendance rate, we want to get that to 95 as well. Again, these are some of our attendance interventions, data, as well as first semester and second semester. Next slide. So we belong to a network called Rise Network, and we are able to go into this, what's called the Data Hub, and utilize their tools. And so there's protocols within this Data Hub that we've assisted the Rise Network in making. A lot of our practices are embedded into their protocols, and then we take some of their protocols as well and work together as a network of 9 schools. And so this is just kind of like great information. I present this to students once a month at a grade level assembly. I present this to faculty on a weekly basis. I'll give them little pieces of data just so they're aware of what's going on as far as whole school or grade level. The 9th grade assistant principal, Mr. Lavoie, he does this on a weekly basis with the 9th grade freshman academy teachers. So we're on teams in the 9th grade. They have somewhere roughly between 90 to 100 kids on a team of 4 to 5 teachers. And so we could pull the data by team, and we could pull the data by grade, and just presenting that to people. And then what's great about the tool, wherever you see a color, you could click on that color and you will get a list of students. And then if you click on a student, you will get their individual student report based on all of their behavior, attendance, and grades, which is up to date. Every day by 4 a.m., PowerSchool dumps into this data hub, and you get your information in charts and samples that you don't have to create. They're all created for you. So this is a great tool that we use. Next slide. So just to wrap it up, we really do focus on relationships and opportunities. A few years ago, we had a couple staff members in our daily attendance meeting, and they used the term after a kid was chronic absent, had missed like 30 or 40 days. They wrote, I remember clearly, they wrote the word exhausted in the outcome and strategy, which in their mind, they were exhausted all of their efforts and they were done kind of intervening. And so that's not something that we utilize. That is a concept that our job is to get a kid to school. A student last year missed 155 days out of 180 in 8th grade. And it took us 12 days to get the student to come to school this year. So he missed the first 12 days of school. He's now at about 60% attendance since we got him to school on day 13. So we're not exhausted, but we continue to learn more about the kids, learn more about their story, and we build those relationships in school here. So when they're done with us, they have better opportunities when they graduate. Thank you.
So now we thought we'd just kind of open it up for questions. We have a few minutes left before the top of the hour. Do folks have questions for Matt or for me about the practices that he's outlined or anything that we found in the report?
Please feel free to unmute, raise your hand, or add it to the chat box. But we'd love to hear from you.
What money are you using to reward students? You said you did like attendance rewards for students and also those competition awards for staff. How are you paying for that?
So the competition for the staff is an interesting one. I don't know what happened, but like literally in August, I got sent like these 10 links of Amazon gift cards from something I did in the spring. And so I'm using that. If I don't use that, usually what I do is I have something from the PTO. So I'll go to a PTO meeting. They're not a wealthy group, but I don't need like a lot of money. I just need something for like some trinkets. And so they're helpful as well. The students, we have used over the years different grants. So I'll go to my assistant superintendent. Basically, the only reason I ever go to her is to ask for money, or say sorry about something I did wrong. So, and she's been great in giving and finding, you know, different little grants and stuff like that. But the RISE network also has some focus areas around 9th grade on track attendance rates. And so we'll use some of that as well.
Thanks.
We also have just some comments in the chat too. What about harassment against students from teachers? And then also, what's your school population?
So does that say, what about harassment against students? So teachers are harassing students? I think that might be the question. So I'm going to say we don't harass students, but if we are harassing them, they probably earned it, because they're probably doing some type of behavior that they feel like puts a target on themselves, how I explain it to parents. But listen, our goal really is to make sure that, you know, our students have a strong relationship with their teachers. That's goal number one. Do people have a bad day? They've had bad days, sure. We have restorative practices at East Hartford High School. We run restorative circles. I just ran one with a student who took a comment from a teacher. He took it one way. The teacher didn't mean it that way, according to the teacher. So I brought the parent in who was upset, sat with the teacher, sat with the student, and Mr. McLeod, who's trained in restorative circles, engaged them in a community conversation for a good hour, hour and a half. And they all walked out with a better understanding of where each other was coming from.
The other
Population of
question,
my school. So population of the school is 1,750 kids right now, 52% Hispanic Latino, 9% white, 7% Asian, and 31% Black.
What is your no-show population right now?
7 kids.
Wow.
Yeah, we have 7. So it was a little bit more, but then we, you know, we have an attendance officer and my family liaison, like they know the kids and they know where they went or where they go. So, you know, you just gotta, it unfortunately takes a lot of time. We knew these 3 kids were not coming back to us, but we couldn't find where they went over the summer. So I even had these guys working over the summer a little bit to try to figure out, like, you know, what kid showed up twice last year that I need off my books this year that I know is not going to come because they live in Springfield or they moved to Puerto Rico, right? And so we just dig, talk to the housing authority. We talk to landlords. Where did they go? Give me somebody that tells me where this kid went. That's the goal.
We found a new way of finding our no-shows, and it was texting the email that's on PowerSchool.
Oh, nice.
And they responded.
And then it comes to their phone, right? I like that.
Yeah, and it goes straight to their text.
I'm about to send out 7 text messages to emails in a minute.
And let me tell you, we
Yeah.
have received immediately. We texted the email and they immediately call us. We say, can you please contact us in reference of your child, Fulano or whatever? And they immediately call us and say, oh yeah, he's in Guatemala or he's in Texas. And that's how we've been able to take them off our roster. But it's been productive to do that, text the email that's on PowerSchool. So that was a really good tool that we have adopted this year. But I was curious, you said that you have 1,700. We have our largest school has 1,700 in New Haven and 1,800, I'm sorry. And I was just curious. Yeah, that's awesome.
let's see, Meyer also has his hand up. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you. Matt, that was a great presentation. Your team needs to be commended for the great work. Clearly, you guys had intention, you were focused, and the results are come along with that. I have a question. I think someone asked a little bit about the demographics of your high school. It seems that it's pretty comparable to what's happening in other districts. And I'm just curious to see within the Latino or Hispanic population, what that composition is. Do you know?
Are you referring to like where those?
Yeah, like where are they? Because what we have in Stanford we do have a tremendous number of Latinos coming in who lack academic background, cannot read and stuff. So
Yeah.
I was just curious to see how you're dealing with that component.
So I could tell you last year, I just met with our ELL coordinator supervisor yesterday, and we have in our last 3 years changed our model, increased supports for our ELL students we doubled what we offer them. So last year alone, I want to say the number was 229 ELL students. This year, right now, it's 309. And so we've had to, and we're adjusting. So we actually added 3 new sections in each core subject starting in September, because we knew we were going to get an influx, right, of South American students in February when their school year ends. Well, we already got it. We already filled up all 3 sections. We got 47 new students that are level 1 students. And so we met yesterday to figure out what we were going to do to crunch some other classes together to be able to support those students. And they're coming in. Yeah, they're coming in with LOSLINK scores of 1. We know that. And so we thought we did a great job preparing with the numbers based on what we got last February. And now we are redoing some scheduling to get ready for January.
Thank you so much, Matt. I'm glad that you guys are preparing and thinking ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. And yes, definitely. This is a group of about 20 people that are focused on attendance. I go to the meetings to try to make them feel good, but most of the time they are the ones doing all the work. But I'll pass that along to them.
Okay, wonderful. And I know, Ashley, you had your hand up, but if
That
you're-
was actually my question, was like
Okay.
learning more about the total number of people who were involved in the process to actually make the attendance team work. And so I was just interested to learn more about that breakdown of what the team looks and sounds and feels like. And I know we're at time, so
Oh, I love it.
it's helpful.
I can give you, so a few years ago, we went grade level with everybody. So our school counseling department is grade level. Our behavior managers are grade level. The social workers are grade level. Assistant principals are grade level. And so each house support team has an assistant principal, 2 school counselors, 3 special ed teachers, a social worker, and 2 behavior managers. And they take the kids in 9th grade and they carry them through 4 years and they graduate. So they have total ownership of their 400-ish, 425-ish kids, to make sure that when they start them, they stay on track throughout all 4 years, or they somehow intervene and get them on track.
That's super helpful. Thank you so much for sharing.
No problem.
Great. Oops. Sorry about that. We do thank you all, though, for being here today with us. We thank Matt and we thank Helen.